Good noon to all of you. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible. Yes, need to know this before we begin. I welcome you to this session, 100 most expected SNAP questions. This is the part 2 of this session. So over a series of sessions, we'll be covering 100 questions that are going to be relevant for your SNAP exam. Grammar questions, vocabulary questions, some parajumbles, all of these we are going to cover. Right? So you've already had the part 1 of this with Vikrant sir. Today we'll be doing the part 2. Hello Varun, good noon. Yes, I am doing well. I hope the same for you. Right, so let's begin. Just a second, let me go to my presentation. Yes. So before we begin, you know this that today is the MyCat exam, and some of you are taking it. Some of you would want to know what were the good attempts, how did the various sections fare, and what all should you have done, what all you should have not done, what was the difficulty level. All of this we are going to discuss with you in a session at 2:30 p.m. Srinivas sir will discuss all these things with you. So do attend. Okay. All right. So, of course, the agenda is to solve all the important questions from vocabulary, from grammar, okay, and if time permits, from parajumbles as well. Right. So, first we'll go to grammar. Why? Because yesterday only we had such a long session on vocabulary. Yes, in the evening, I took the last lap to SNAP and IFT. So, last lap, not last lap. In case you missed it, you can watch the recording. And I think we covered approximately 30 vocabulary questions there, but we covered all the question types that we've seen in your previous years in IFT and in SNAP, right? So that's why let's begin with grammar right now. Hello, hi Balraj, hi Jaisuman, Amit, Aniket, hi Sohardya. Some of the, okay, one more and it was 120-minute duration. Yes, earlier that was the case, Varun. Uh, the difficulty level see, the difficulty level one is that it is never constant, exactly the same year to year, right? However, if I give you a general analysis, SNAP as an exam is relatively on the easier side when you compare it with, let's say, a CAT or a ZAT, right? So even then, even though the number of questions were more, the difficulty level of the vocabulary questions, the grammar questions was very similar to what we faced, let's say, in the last 2 years. So no, there was no radical difference in the difficulty level. So Hardi, I'll have to check this. Yes, they do have some criteria about CAT percentile. My CAT does specify some criteria. What is the criteria this year? Why don't you attend the 2:30 session? And I think Srinivas sir will be very well versed with it, considering that he's taking the analysis. Right, so he'll give you the precise information about what all your percentile should be in various sections of CAT. Okay. Hi Mansi. Hello Amrit. Hi Varun. Hi Priya. Sham, why are you distressed? Yes, tell me that first. You've just had one major exam, isn't it? All your non-CAT exams are yet to happen. So what's the cause of this distress? Okay, so that's not a bad score, Sagar. 9 is a good score to, let's say, improve on, right? To build on. So 9 out of 15 currently, it's the case. So see, where is it that you made mistakes? In case it was vocabulary and you did not genuinely know the word, then look up the meaning of the word. This is a learning for you. Okay, then you need not feel bad. But in case it was a grammar concept that you knew, but you still made an error there because probably you were not able to identify which area did it belong to, right? You made a silly mistake. In that case, see, you have to avoid such errors in the future, okay? In case it was an unknown concept for you, then make sure that you study the related concepts. Let's say you did not know a noun concept and that was questioned on in the test. So make sure that you're very thorough with your various concepts, various rules related to nouns. Right, so that's the way to go about it. That's how we improve. And in case it was parajumbles, then see why the mistake happened, because see, ideally you have practiced a lot of parajumbles, so mistakes with options should be rare, right? But in case it happened, see what was the reason, were you not able to comprehend? So the point is analyze, work on the areas that you need to, and trust me, 9 से आप आगे जा सकते हो ऊपर. 9 is not a bad score. Okay. So Ameya, the thing is, see, the mocks the intention of mocks is to prepare you for the actual exam. And how do we prepare you for something? By let's say taking the worst case scenario. So that is why the mocks of snap are designed keeping this in mind, that what if you face a difficult paper tomorrow, or if we give you something difficult right now, then when you get something easy you will find it even easier. So that's always the intention behind mocks. Even if you take our cat mocks, we always tried that we make them 10 to 15% tougher than the actual exam. That's always the intention behind mocks. Okay. How to get a 40 plus stuck between 36 and 38. Okay. So, see from which sections is there more potential for you to take your score higher? Okay. Is it quantitative aptitude? There are some topics that, let's say, you haven't done yet, or let's say you are good at, but then in the exam you were not able to apply the concepts. Is it DI? Is it LR? So basically QA plus DI है, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग में प्रॉब्लम है, वर्बल रीजनिंग में अगर प्रॉब्लम है, then I conducted a session called SNAP Critical Reasoning, where we discussed all the major verbal reasoning question types. So you can watch that, practice more questions similar to that, right? So to push it to 40 plus, first thing is that you see which all concepts you can improve on, right? And the other thing is to minimize your negatives. Minimize your negatives. So right now, maybe you are randomly marking questions, maybe you are making wild guesses. Don't do that. There is still a 0.25 ka negative marking. No, I understand that it's not one third like cat, but it's still there. So try not to make completely wild guesses. That's what I recommend. Okay. So Sham, just the advice that I gave to Sahardia applies to you as well. All right. Good noon, Mandeep. Let's begin with our questions. So here's the first grammar question on your screens. Right. Error spotting. Spot the error here. Let's see what you say. Welcome, welcome, Sahardia. Charu has already answered. She says A. Others. Amey A. Akshay B. All right. Balraj A. Saif B. Varun says C. Okay. So Varun noticed that C looks a bit different, either A or B. Usually we do not have such options, right? It's A, B, C, D. So whenever, I'm just giving you a piece of advice, that whenever you have a different sort of an option, do cross check it, right? Do check it once. So some of you said A, some of you said B. So that means there is a possibility that I can correct A also, then also this sentence would make sense, and I can correct B also, right? In case both of you are correct. And yes, either A or B is the answer here. Varun and Natasha's painting workshops. So if, let's say, they are separate workshops, there are two workshops, right? In that case, I should say Varun's and Natasha's if they are two separate workshops. In case both of them are conducting a workshop together, then yes, I'll say Varun and Natasha's. Now it's a workshop that both of them are conducting together. But in that case, but in that case, uh, here it's more likely that it is going to be a painting workshop. It's going to be a painting workshop. So this is called collective, or collective ownership, and this is separate ownership. So Varun's and Natasha's painting workshops are around the corner, or it is more likely that Varun and Natasha are conducting a painting workshop together. So Varun and Natasha's painting workshop is around the corner. Okay, and we'll get the final schedule. So basically, when it is going to happen, we'll get that schedule soon. So either A or B is a possibility, right? C is the answer here. So to give you more examples, if I talk about, I think this is an even more appropriate example. If I'm talking about a wedding. It's the wedding season anyway. So if I say Sakshi and Nishan's, what should I say? Wedding or weddings? Wedding or weddings? So if it is collective ownership, again, that means there is just one wedding, Sakshi and Nishan's wedding. That means they're getting married to each other, right? Versus when I say Sakshi's and Nishan's, then it cannot be wedding. It has to be weddings. Okay, now they are getting married to different people. Okay, perfect, correct. So here our concept of collective ownership, joint ownership, actually we call it joint ownership versus separate ownership. That is clear now. Let's have a look at this question. Find out the correct sentence here. Yes, it's a concept that I have tested you on earlier as well in MHCT and for other exams. Let's see. A, B, A, all right. Okay, confused between A and C. So Varun, you can act, this is actually after weddings, yes, R will come, Shyam. R will come. Okay, A, B, all right. So, sibling. Sibling is singular. There's a subject verb agreement concept also here. Sibling is singular. So, it needs a singular verb, right? Singular verb क्या होता है जिसके आगे S या ES लगा होता है. Singular verbs are those verbs which have S or ES after them. So, it cannot be disliked. C is eliminated. His sibling dislikes something. What is it that he dislikes? So some of you are saying him studying, some of you are saying his studying. He's studying, I think none of you have said he's studying. Good. Okay. It has to be between these two. Now, usually when we talk to each other, we tend to say this. His sibling dislikes him studying till midnight. But tell me something. What does his sibling dislike? What exactly does his sibling dislike? Him as a person, his sibling dislikes this guy as a person, or his sibling dislikes his activity. His sibling dislikes his activity. I am just naming that activity. The name of that activity is studying. So his sibling dislikes his studying till midnight. Okay, this is a gerund concept. If I have to codify it in the form of a rule, then before gerunds, when we have pronouns, they are possessive pronouns. I have to put possessive pronouns before gerunds. Okay, so his sibling dislikes his activity. His sibling dislikes his crying, not him crying. Okay, उसको crying पसंद नहीं है, as a person पसंद है अपना भाई. Okay, great, great, great. So this is clear to everyone. Let's come to the next concept, error detection, error spotting. Yes, spot the error. Yes, if you find value in the sessions, then without our saying it, you should go and press the like button every single time. Okay. Janvi says B. Amey says B. Okay. B. B. All right. All right. A, B. Okay. Let's see. I want more responses. Okay. This is a little surprising for me. This is a little surprising for me. Why? Because have we not done this concept before? Collective nouns, they are usually singular. Collective nouns are usually singular. So for instance, the jury has given a unanimous decision. But in case there is a disagreement in the group, disagreement basically within the group, or I want to focus on the individual members of the group. I want to focus on the individual members. In that case, collective nouns become plural. So bicker means to, have a petty fight. So this noun team becomes a plural noun. The team have been bickering over the batting order is absolutely correct. Nothing wrong with it. The team have been bickering over the batting order. And see, you can't bicker over somebody else's batting order. So some students might think they might be bickering over the other team's batting order. But can you do that? उनका batting order तो उनका batting order है, right? You can't really do anything about it. So this fight, this bickering is happening within the team. The team have been bickering over the batting order since the match began. Since the match began. So we use the past simple. We use the past simple after this since. Since the match started. Since the match began, not begin. Begin, the third form of the verb, is used with the perfect tense. Okay. So if I say has begun, the match has begun, then I'll say the match has begun. I included this question because I remember one of you asked me why I was using I said begun there, but you heard it as begin. In one of the sessions only this happened. So I thought to create a question out of it. So the match has begun. So here you will use the perfect tense. Okay, perfect tense. So see, if I say I have been listening to you since I came, you never say this. So since I come, come, came, come. You never use the third form. So here also you'll not use the third form since it began. Since the match began. Begin, began, begun. Begun is the third form. वो नहीं use होगी यहाँ पे. So C is erroneous here. Okay. I hope this is clear. Have been bickering is correct. It's begun. That was the problem. All right. Okay. Let's have a look at a fill in the blank question. Yeah. Ame, a very good point. See, sometimes we tend to make things very complex. So, the entire confusion would be sorted. Ame saying, can't we just add the members of the team? I am absolutely with you here. But, and lately people have started doing that. But this is what we are doing here is following the traditional rules. So the traditional rules go by this, that the collective noun team is usually singular, but when there is a focus on the individual members, when there is a disagreement within the group, we use it as plural. We did not add members of the back then. Now for added clarity, a lot of people have started doing this because फिर उसके बाद इतना सोचना ही नहीं पड़ेगा, right? But हम अभी traditional rules सीख रहे हैं, that's why. Okay. So fill in the fill in the blanks. 3C, okay. A, all right. So it's 3 versus 1, but mostly I've got 3's only. Only an Einstein can solve this question, and she is the Einstein of this class. So this is to teach you that sometimes a proper noun, so we learned a rule related to noun in the previous question also. A proper noun can sometimes be used as a common noun. Okay, sometimes it can be used as a common noun. So when I say only an Einstein can solve this question, right? Only an Einstein can solve this question. I mean only a genius can solve this question. That's what I mean here. So I'm using Einstein as a common noun here. And she is the Einstein. Why did I put the here? Because I am specifying of what? Of this class. So I am making this noun a definite noun, right? So if I say this is the blackboard of this room, this is the blackboard of this class. So the blackboard, not a blackboard, unless of course the classroom has many blackboards. Then you will say, okay, this is a blackboard of this class. Otherwise, the blackboard because it's a specific blackboard that belonging to this class. Similarly, the Einstein of this class. And that's why 3 is the answer. Very correctly identified. Okay. I hope this is clear to you. Why an Einstein there? Only a genius. This is what I meant. And she's the genius of this class. 3. Okay. Let's have a look at another fill in the blank based on articles. Let's see what you say here. Okay, Varun says C. All right. Okay. Two. All right. Parts of speech, Seth, you mean? So, Seth, I don't think I have conducted a session on all parts of speech together because they do require separate sessions. I remember I conducted this series wherein I covered one part of speech in one session, primarily through questions. So, the names were also very okay. So, it was, for instance, the session on prepositions was called Prep for Prepositions. Let tenses not tense you, right? I conducted this series. Let tenses not tense you. I think for MHCT we did this. Prep for prepositions. So basically, you'll find this for various parts of speech. Such series for various parts of speech. You'll have to search a little. Okay. So please do that. You'll find them in the channel itself. B2. Okay, 2 is the answer. Many people in the West. Why the West? When we talk about a region, okay, we have to put the before it. If you're GOT fans, the North remembers. Yes, the North remembers. So they never say North remembers. When we name a region, we put the before it. Many people in the West have woken up to the benefits. Why specific benefits? Again, see, it's followed by an off phrase. So specific benefits. कौन से वाले? Meditation के benefits. And that's why two. Okay. So articles are very again particular specific rules related to them, and you will benefit if you read the chapter on articles from a standard grammar book. Could be Renan Martin, could be Raymond Murphy, whichever you find better, right? Okay, so this is a previous year SNAP question on voice, and that's why I thought to discuss this. These are the instructions. This is the sentence. These are the options. Tell me what the answer should be. Yes, King of the North, right? The King of the North. Okay. So I've got B, C, all right. A, okay. King of North. No, ideally, then that is grammatically incorrect. They should have said the King of the North. Okay, the King of the North. Okay, this is how they should have put it. So this happens in a lot of songs also. They make grammatical errors because that's how we talk to each other. We accept grammatical errors, a lot of them in colloquial English, but uh, we have to pick up the grammatically correct sentences for our exam. B or C. Okay, you are confused. See this. So the problem, I mean, why this question is slightly trickier than your usual active passive voice questions is, first of all, what is the concept of voice? It's a property of a verb, right? So basically, verb अपनी voice change करता है. Nothing else in the sentence changes its voice as such, right? So if I say she gave me, okay, no, let's not. She, okay, slapped him. Okay, she slapped him. Now, there is a subject here, there is a verb here, and there is an object of this verb. Receiver of this action, receiver of the slap, right? So it becomes very easy to explain this. So he was the object of the slap. Yes? So this is called a sentence in the active voice because here the doer of the action is the subject. The doer of the action is the subject and the receiver is the object. Most of your sentences in English are sentences in active voice. Passive voice is not used as much. Why? Because we want our sentences to be active, right? We want the doer to be the subject. Passive sentences appear lazy and laid back. Okay. But in some sentences, it is the object or the receiver of the action that is more important. And that's why we write them in the passive voice. Okay. Now, if I have to convert this into passive voice, the receiver will become the subject. He. So let's say he is a very important figure and I want to make him the focus of this sentence. So he was slapped by her. Right. He was slapped by her. Now you see something that the subject changes to the object changes to the subject and verb. So changes कहाँ कहाँ आ रहे हैं subject, verb और object में. अब इस sentence में क्या होता है? What is the case with this sentence? There is a subject here. Okay. Should is the modal verb. Open is the verb here. And the receiver of this opening is the wine. So this is one set of subject, verb, object. However, we have another set of subject, verb, object here before you use it, subject verb object. So even this will change its voice. Even this will change its voice. Wherever you have a verb, there the voice will be changed. So how will I change this? You should open the wine. The wine should be opened. Okay, by you is sometimes deleted. Okay, this by, okay, this is sometimes deleted because the whole point of changing it to passive voice is when you think that the receiver is more important. And sometimes, therefore, you tend to delete the doer altogether. You tend to not write this by XYZ altogether. So here also, I can skip the by you because sometimes it's very understood also. So the wine should be opened. Okay. First of all, it should have been the wine. That's an error that all the questions have, but it's a previous year question, so I put it as it was. The wine should be opened. Okay, so this part, ये तो correct है. Okay. By you, or we can even skip by you. About 3 hours before. So here we don't need to change anything. There's no verb here as such. So about 3 hours before. About is missing here. About 3 hours before. About 3 hours before. Now, you use it should change to, you use it should change to, it is used by you. It is used by you. And again, I can skip the by you, right? So, which sentence has this structure it is used? Only the Delhi. Only the Delhi. Okay. So, I hope it's now clear to you. Good, good, good. So, let me see who marked D earlier as well. Mohit said D earlier. Okay. Good, Mohit. Good. Charu Dasmana said D. Akshay said D. Balraj said D. Anushka. So, see, some of you identified it right away. Okay. Now, Shyam is asking what is the difference between a king and the king? See, when I say a king, it could be any king out there. It could be any king out there. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled his subjects very benevolently. Right. So, a king, it could be any king out there. I am not specifying this king. But when I say the king, that means you and I are familiar with this king. Okay. The indicates familiarity. You know which king I am talking about. Okay. Familiarity or subsequent mention. That's also how we put it. So once upon a time, there was a king who ruled his subjects very benevolently. The king had many children, right? So the king. Now why am I saying the king? Because I've already introduced this king in the previous sentence. So subsequent mention and consequently familiarity on the part of the reader. That's the difference. When I say a king, let's say there is a set of kings. This set has all the kings. It could be any king out of this set. The king, एक particular king की बात हो रही है. Okay, correct, correct. Yes, Mandeep. D misses the doer. Yes, Ame, absolutely. So I told you, that sometimes the doer is not, we skip the doer. We skip the by noun, the by plus the noun when we convert active voice to passive voice. Because see, when we say you should open the wine, it's a very general instruction that is being given to everybody out there. Right? I know that this person could be talking to someone in particular also. That's also the case. But ऐसा लग रहा है ना कि general instruction दे दी जा रही है कि ऐसे बोलने चाहिए wine, right? So because it's such a general instruction, it's not essential to mention the doer. Sometimes when the doer is very indefinite in nature, that means it's not one definite person who is being talked to, or unimportant, we tend to skip the doer in passive voice. Okay? All right. Yes, it is implied. Yes, active passive stay, it is different from direct indirect speech. Direct indirect speech is called reported speech. So these two are different topics. Okay, reported speech is someone said something to you and now you're reporting it to someone else. That is reported speech. No, it's not always the case, Abhishek. It's not always the case. It's only when this person is indefinite. Okay, so for instance, the thief stole my purse. The thief stole my purse. Active voice sentence, isn't it? The thief stole my purse. Now, I can write my purse was stolen by the thief or a thief. Let's make it a thief. Okay. एक एक चोर ने मेरा पर्स चुरा लिया. Right. My purse was stolen. Isn't it sort of implied in general cases? Okay. In general cases, it's sort of implied कि चोर ही चुराएगा. Right. The thief only will steal your purse. So instead of writing this by a thief, you can choose to skip it. You can just say my purse was stolen. Okay, so that's the concept there, but it's not always the case. Okay, perfect, perfect. 4, 2, 3. How many grammar questions someone was asking it? So last year the breakup was almost, I mean, you can actually expect almost equal number of vocabulary and grammar questions. Last year it was like this: 8, 6, 1 in slot 3. Okay, so 8 grammar, 6 vocab, and 1 paragraph in slot 3 snap. 3, 4, 1. Okay. See, this will was not underlined. You have to replace the underlined phrase, isn't it? So, ye will to aega hi aega, even in the correct sentence. So, keep this in mind when you attempt these sentence correction questions. The movie will ended does not make sense. The movie will had ended does not make sense. So, those who said 1 and 4, that means you didn't read this part correctly. You didn't pay attention to the part that will has to be there in the question. Okay, so eliminated. We are left with these two. The movie will have ended when he will wake up, or the movie will have ended when he wakes up. Which is correct? So, those who are saying 3, absolutely correct. 3 is the answer. Okay, so when we talk about the future perfect tense. Okay, I will have finished dinner when you arrive. We never say when you will arrive. So do not try to translate it from Hindi to English. Okay, because in Hindi I would say मैं डिनर कर चुकी होंगी जब तुम आओगे. वो भी फ्यूचर में है जब तुम आओगे. But in English it does not work like that. Whenever you have a when or an if, okay, as a condition mentioned, so then you use the present simple with the future perfect. The movie will have ended when he wakes up. Even though he will wake up in the future, still we do not use he will wake up. We use he wakes up. We use the present simple, even though it's a future event. Remember this. Okay, this is tenses 101. It's a basic rule of tenses. 3 is the answer. So these were some grammar questions for you. Let's have a look at some vocabulary questions now. Yes, any queries so far? Please ask any query that I could have overlooked some of your queries in the chat box. You can post them again. Okay, don't hesitate. In one, both tenses won't be. Okay, Jasmine, usually see, we try to maintain consistency in tenses. Okay, so if I did a number of activities in the past, I would report them, I would tell you about them in the past only, right? However, this rule has certain exceptions. Okay, so here, although it is a future event, but in English, when we have an if or a when and something follows it. So, for instance, you tell your mother, I'll call you up when I reach the metro station. I'll call you up when I reach the metro station. That's what we usually say, right? Not when I will reach. So, after if and when, we tend to use the present simple even though they are future events. So this is a sort of an exception. Okay. Okay. because movie will end in future. Okay, will have ended. Okay, when he wakes up. Janvi, I've never thought about it like this. I have always thought about it, and this is what I've read in various grammar books, that with this if and when structure, even if we report something, even if we talk about something that is going to happen in the future, okay, we do talk about it in the present simple only. Okay. अरे टू किसका आंसर आ गया? मैंने तो अच्छा slot 2 vocabulary. Why, Mansi, why don't you catch that session? Decoding vocabulary. In the very beginning of that session, we have given a breakup of IFT, snap all slots, all of that is there, right? So just catch those few minutes of the session and you will find it, the detailed breakup. Okay. Grammar questions, from where should we practice them? By attending these sessions, that's one. A lot of sessions from last year are also there on our YouTube channel. You can actually go through them. Then apart from that, I have suggested that fill in the blanks. You need not worry about fill in the blanks at all, because every standard grammar book such as Wren and Martin, it has fill in the blanks after each chapter. So those will be practiced from there. Error spotting, sentence correction, for that rely on previous year papers. In case you have the NMAT official guide, you can go through the NMAT official guide. Other books I do not recommend as such, because sometimes there are errors in the answers. So I don't want you to go through that additional stress, right? So these could be your sources. Sure, sure, Mohit. I'll explain it. A or C. Nix. So, to nix something from someone. What does it mean? So I think you must have heard it in a lot of shows. Nix. The deal was nixed. So when we cancel something, okay, when we uh, cancel it, that's when we use nix as a verb. Okay. Otherwise, as a noun, nix means nothing, nothing at all. Okay. So here backwards. Okay. Okay. Correct, Nandini. Absolutely correct. Correct. Welcome, Per. Welcome. So to nix something is to cancel it. Okay. So here, spurn. When someone spurns you, okay. I have usually read it in the context of spurned lovers. Okay. So when someone rejects you, that's when you have been spurned by someone. Okay. Or if you spurn someone, you reject them. So spurn is to reject, right? Proscribe is to, it's the opposite of, people actually confuse it with prescribe. But while prescribe means to recommend, proscribe means to prohibit. It is the opposite. Okay, it is the opposite. So B and C are in line with, let's say, cancelling, banning, rejecting, seizing. Okay, so these cannot be the answers. Veto, again, when you veto something, okay, so X country vetoed the proposal. Veto powers in Security Council, yes. So veto is when again you deny something, you reject something. So even this is in line with these two. So it's A, that is the antonym. Okay, both mean to all these mean to cancel, ban, reject, prohibit. Concede. When you concede, you accept. When you concede, you accept. Okay. So jilt, yes, in the sense of spurned lovers, jilted lovers, yes, they are similar words. Okay. Again, suddenly rejected is a jilted lover. Yes. Okay. Okay. So concede, I hope you've understood why it is the antonym here, because this meant cancel. These were related. They are not exact synonyms, but they are related. Concede means to accept, reluctantly accept. Okay. बहुत enthusiastic acceptance नहीं होता concede. In fact, in logical arguments, when you concede your opponent's argument, when you, let's say you are arguing with someone in a debate and you concede your opponent's argument, so you accept, let's say, a part of it before refuting something. So your concession shows that, okay, you're a mature debater, you're accepting some parts of his argument, but then you do give your rebuttal also, right? Insipid. Insipid, we've done this in another session. So tell me the antonym. I think in that session we did the synonym. All right. A, B. A lot of B's I've got. Savory. Absolutely correct. Savory is the answer here. Insipid is something that's very bland, boring. Okay, so I can use it literally also for food. Insipid food will be bland food. Okay, I can also use it metaphorically for anything that I find very boring or dull. Right? So, such an insipid lecture. Yes, some of you might feel that. So, insipid means boring and tasteless, literally. Okay. Then savory would be the opposite because this means tasty. This means tasty. If you savor something, you relish it, you enjoy it while eating because it's tasty. Watery, no. Mushy is again something that's very gooey. So even that is not the answer. That's not antonymous. Innocuous. What does this mean? Innocuous. Innocuous. Some words might appear innocuous to the speaker but may hurt the listener. So, innocuous means harmless. Harmless. Right? So, if I say that, oh, my words were innocuous, I didn't say anything that was bad. So, that means I just uttered some harmless words. It was an innocuous lie, a white lie, a sort of a harmless minor lie. That's an innocuous lie. Okay? So white lie in Hindi is, for instance, सफेद झूठ means a blatant lie. बिल्कुल जैसे हम कहते हैं कि outrightly झूठ बोल दिया. But in English, when we say a white lie, it's not the same as Hindi का सफेद झूठ. A white lie means a minor harmless lie. Okay. All right. All right. Yes. Idioms and phrases. Let's quickly do this. This is very easy. To turn turtle. This I'll have to check, Janvi. I haven't really, because I haven't really filled the form for various colleges. I'll have to check this. B, C, okay, all right. A, B, C, okay, okay, okay. To turn turtle, okay. When a turtle tends to turn. If you've seen a turtle walking, sometimes they tend to just turn, right, on the side of their shell. So, to overturn is to turn turtle. To overturn. जब कोई चीज पलट जाए, that is called to turn turtle. Very easy this one. As in, it's a very common expression. That's what I mean. The car turned turtle. That means the car completely overturned. Okay. Find your feet. Yes. To find your feet. He finally found his feet in the stock market. Upside down. Absolutely. B. All right. Yes, it's used for vehicles. So if you read accident news items about accidents, reports about accidents, it's often used there. B or C. Okay. So these are two close options here. But when you find your feet somewhere, in Hindi there's a corresponding idiom, अपने पैर जमाना. कहीं पर अपने पैर जमाना. So finally you are able to adapt to that place, adjust to that place, right? So adapting and attuning to something is finding your feet there. It's not about finding a space in that place. Okay. So finding one own space, no. Adapting and attuning to something. He found his feet in the new organization. Particularly, it's used for a new situation. When you finally become comfortable in a new situation, that is when you find your feet there. So, B, Bangalore is the more appropriate option as compared to C, even though they were relatively close. Okay. Find the odd word out here. Yes. Odd word out. Exculpate. Culprit. Yes, who is a culprit? Someone who has committed a crime. Now, ex means out, and this at indicates that this is a verb. To exculpate someone is to prove that they have not been guilty of a crime. To declare that, okay, this guy has not been guilty, this person has not been guilty of a particular crime, okay, is not guilty. Exonerate again means exonerate, absolutely correct. B, C, and D are synonyms. It's only A that is the opposite. It's the antonym of all these three. Right? Exonerate again means to pardon someone, to basically acquit someone. Right? Absolve is usually used in moral or obligatory cases. Right? He was absolved of this responsibility, or he was absolved of his sins. Right? So when you absolve someone, you declare them free from guilt again, or free from some obligation also. He was finally absolved of that responsibility, matlab उसे discharge कर दिया in a way from that charge that he had taken earlier. So used in moral, obligatory context, religious context also. And absolve is followed by of usually. Okay, absolved of something. Right? So, okay. BCDR synonyms. Indict. To indict someone is to formally, when we indict someone. See, there is a in plus dict. This dict here means to say, right? Edict is something that is spoken out, a formal order. So to indict someone, the C is silent there. It is to formally say that, okay, you are guilty of this crime. Formally accuse someone of a particular crime. In plus dict becomes indict, and it means to formally accuse someone of a crime. Edict, on the other hand, is a formal order. Okay. So A is the antonymous form. Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely. Okay. Again, a fill in the blank, just one word. Yes, I think the last question for the day, this one. Let's see what you say. The rents were raised to general dissatisfaction, and there were the usual dash disputes between the tenants and the landlords. We've done these words, most of them. Okay. All right. There were the usual dash disputes. I'm giving you a hint here. Pick it up. The usual dash disputes. So, because they are usual, I want to say that they are petty in nature, right? So, can it be petulant then? Can it be petulant then instead of, let's say, this acrimonious? Yes. Can it be petulant then? Petty disputes, if I want to say. C or D. Okay, persistent also. All words seem. Okay. So see this. Persistent disputes, the usual persistent disputes between the tenants and the landlords, because we do not have a context as such that, okay, from how long have they been continuing. This is rejected. Similarly, when I say excruciating, excruciating is usually used for pain. When you're in extreme pain, that is excruciating pain. For disputes, we generally don't use excruciating. Okay, so even excruciating is eliminated. It is between B and C. So acrimonious disputes between the tenants and the landlords are petulant disputes. Now, what does petulant mean? Petulant is used for a person. Okay, somebody who's very easily angered, somebody who's very easily annoyed, bad tempered se jo log hote hain, right? So can I use it for disputes? That's the question here. Yes. Can I say that it was a petulant dispute, or can I just use it for people? That's what it comes down to, right? In my opinion, because we use it for people, okay. for instance, petulant so and so person, we should not use it for disputes as such. I haven't seen it being used with things as such. So I would go with acrimonious, angry and bitter. Angry and bitter, because acrimonious disputes ho sakte hai, right? Uh, and that's why I would go with C. Okay. So you were correct the first time around. I was just checking how sure you are of your answers. Right? Pity is different. Piteous is different. It's not related to petulant. Piteous is miserable. Okay, something that arouses your pity. That is piteous. All right. Hope this makes sense. So C was the answer there. So yes, these were some vocabulary and grammar questions that we covered today. Keep practicing more and more such questions. Keep attending these sessions. Okay, we'll have a lot more parts after this. And do recommend CAT 2023 to your friends who are preparing for next year's CAT. Right, a lot of tools available here for you. And yes, we are currently having this series. You know this. It's going on. I will see you with two more sessions here, one on grammar, one on reasoning. So keep attending these 30th November to 9th December. Okay. And do stay connected over various social media platforms. These two you know, yes, very well. And we can also stay connected via Telegram. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Bye-bye. See you, bye. Common words for SNAP. See, you can go for NMAT ka high frequency list. SNAP hasn't really given its own list as such, but NMAT official guide has a high frequency list. You can go for that. Okay. Otherwise, there are a number of high frequency lists that are there for various exams. So, for instance, there is a Barron's list that is very popular with GRE students, right? So you can consider doing that. Okay. Yes, yes, they are absolutely useful for NMAT, Mansi, because in NMAT you do get vocabulary and grammar, right? Both of them. So they are useful. Okay. Bye bye. See you.